Good evening and welcome to Spokane City Hall, our legislative agenda this evening. As usual, we will start with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are on the unceded land of the Spokane people and that these lands were once the major trading center for the Spokanes, and as they share this place and welcome other area tribes through their relations, history, trade, and ceremony. We also want to acknowledge that the land holds the spirit of the place through its knowledge, culture, and all the original people since time immemorial. As we take a moment to consider the impacts of colonization, may we also acknowledge the strengths and resiliency of the Spokanes and their relatives. As we work together making decisions that benefit all, may we do so as one heart, one mind, and one spirit. We are grateful to be on the lands of the Spokane people and ask for the support of their ancestors in all relations. We ask that you recognize these injustices that forever changed the lives of the Spokane people and all their relatives. As we agree to work together to stop all acts of continued injustices toward Native Americans and all our relatives, it is time for reconciliation. We must act upon the truths and take actions that will create restorative justice for all people. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Pfister, will you call the roll?
Council President Wilkerson.
Present.
Councilmember Dillon.
Here.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Present.
Councilmember Bingle.
Here.
Councilmember Zapone.
Here.
Councilmember Klitsky.
Present.
Councilmember Navarrete.
Here.
Let the record reflect that all council members are present.
Thank you. Tonight, we have Poetry at the Podium, which was originally created in 2019 by Spokane Poet Laureate Mark Anderson, along with Spokane Arts, to give local poets and poetry enthusiasts the opportunity to make their voices heard at council meetings in a unique and artful way. This opportunity reminds our community that poetry can play an important part in the civic realm. Tonight, we have Dennis Hell reading Remission. Dennis, are you in the room? I am. Welcome.
Thank you. I guess the part where the thunderous applause. That's the one. Thank you. Thank you, City Council, for having me. Thank you, Spokane. Welcome. The poem is called Remission. 5.5 years ago, I walked into an office at Northwest Cancer, and they said, you might have 6 months. About 6 weeks ago, I walked out of my doctor's office with the word remission on my lips. And I would just say, don't give up, whoever you are. Anything can happen. Remission. Wait, what was my first mission? And why should it take 5 years ago to go from 4-star cancer? Malignant melanoma is an angry cancer. The oncologist, my oncologist said, right to my face, nothing to hide between us anymore, and her pregnant with what became a difficult set of twins, jaundiced and lethargic and failing to thrive. But she got me started on immunotherapy and the Gamma knife that saved my brain. Yes, my neurosurgeon. And the radiation that saved my torso. And maybe even the marijuana that saved the rest. Because yes, that was my mission, to keep breathing air, to gobble up this life by the bucketful, and to hell with keeping any list, and to love like a poem without even meaning to at all. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, Dennis, congratulations. Next, we have the appointment of two board members. We have the Spokane Park Board, which is Lindsay Shaw. And we have the Health Sciences and Service Authority Board, which is John Powers. We do have two public comments, one from Justin Holler, if he's in the space. Justin, are you online?
Justin, if you're online, can you press *3 or raise your hand? Go ahead whenever you're ready. You're unmuted.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep, we can hear you.
The appointments?
Yep.
Is this a bipartisan appointment, or is this a agenda-driven appointment? That's what I wonder. And I would hope that you have a nonpartisan appointment versus all the agenda appointments of recent. That's all.
Thank you, Justin. The next is Hugh Azee. What did he say on that one? All right. Were you complete, Justin? Okay. Is Hugh in the building or online? I do not see him. Any council comments on the two positions posted? Councilmember Bingo.
Yeah, so I want to speak favorably about both of them. Before we do, I do again want to acknowledge Mayor Brown. Early in her tenure mentioned that she wanted to get more District 1 representation on boards and commissions, and I think she's really followed through on that, so thank you for keeping that commitment. We have a District 1 resident who's going to be on our park board, and being on that board is incredibly important considering the needs that we have for parks in District 1, and so I think Lindsay's going to do a good job there. And then Mr. Powers, when it comes to the board that we're appointing him to, he came in and spoke about I think some really exciting technology and science advancements that we could be doing here that could be increasing our economy in that particular sector that I think is really exciting for the future of Spokane. And so I hope that he is incredibly effective there and helps to bring those industries to Spokane so that we can get some good livable wage jobs for our people. And if you're watching, Mr. Powers, maybe pick District 1 for where you settle on those.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, I second what Councilmember Bingle said with regards to former Mayor Powers. Fantastic, I think, choice for that role. For Lindsay, I just want to say, I think it's really important that we have more District 1 representation, and we need more and more and more. And so glad that she is stepping up for this. And I just want to point out, this is supposed to be, and I think we're trying to act in a nonpartisan way. And, folks who have competed on the ballot against one another can respect and support each other in different ways. And so just want to make sure that isn't lost on anybody. And so I think Lindsay will do a really good job, and glad to support her.
Okay. Any council commentary? District 1 has spoken. All those in favor of the two board appointments, I'll just say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any noes? Abstentions? Welcome to both of you. Next up, we have the consent agenda. And we're going to start with Justin Holler again. And just as a note, we will be taking item number 2 and breaking those apart at the vote. Justin, you're up. And this
Go.
is for the consent agenda.
Go ahead, Justin. You're unmuted. Go ahead whenever
Hello?
you're ready.
Yeah, as always, I don't consent. As Justin Haller, District 1. Yeah, I'm wondering why you guys can't go line by line with the budget and cut out the fat. Can we do that, please? That'd be great. That's all.
Thank you, Justin. The next again is Hugh Azzi, A-Z-Z-Y. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Who's going to call in? No? Next up is Wendy Fishburne. Welcome, Wendy. And after Wendy, Christine Quinn.
Thanks for separating out item 2. That's very, very cool. That's what I'm here to talk about. So, good evening, City Council President and members. I'm Wendy Fishburne, marriage and family therapist, Vice President of East Spokane Business Association, and a regular at the Homeless Coalition. So I am specifically addressing item 2 about increasing funding for inclement weather to Catholic charities and Revive. The medical examiner was clear. The ratio of overdose to exposure deaths was over 300 to 1. So if we're worried about inclement weather, you're exponentially missing the addiction crisis by 300 to 1. And where do many of those overdose deaths occur? We have to consider that. So instead of blowing money on wrong organizations and the wrong topic, I urge you to please re-engage in the Spokane Regional Collaboration that was organized under Spokane Unite. I reviewed these documents this weekend, and they were stunning. Y'all worked so hard on that stuff. A regional response was in reach. In the Collaboration for Our Community project, it was initiated on March 3rd, 2023. That's 2 years ago. 600 overdose deaths and countless businesses that have closed. This is their anniversary. We were so close. Some of your signatures are on this document that you guys signed when you worked together. This is the Collaborating for Our Community, saying our region's greatest strength is our ability to build community vitality through regional partnerships and collaboration. As elected leaders, we know this isn't a political issue. It's a people issue. We believe that working beyond political and jurisdictional boundaries may give us the best chance to build and deliver strategic, impactful solutions for our entire community for years to come. You guys did this. And as our elected leaders, you could reactivate this process tomorrow. You could start saving lives tomorrow. I also want to read the names that are on this.
Thank you, Wendy.
Oh,
Your time
darn
is
it.
up.
This is all your names. You guys are on this. Please re-engage. Thank you.
Christine Quinn, and then after Christine, Dennis Flynn.
Hello. So I'm going to read something from someone who lived at a Catholic Charities property. Catholic Charities doesn't care about anything but money. When I got clean and sober, they put me in the building directly behind House of Charity. And when I asked them not to because I was newly clean and sober and uncomfortable in that area, I was told it'd be a great test for me. I eventually moved out and into the Logan neighborhood, into another Catholic Charities property they had just purchased. It's gone downhill since. I have hundreds and hundreds of emails, all manner of drug activity. I have documentation of this. I have video of this. Catholic Charities will do nothing about this. Please stop giving money to Catholic Charities.
Thank you. Dennis Flynn, and please, no clapping allowed. Dennis Flynn, and then Sunshine.
I forgot my glasses. Forgive me if I squint. Hi, Council. Dennis Flynn. I live near St. Charles. Regarding the crony capitalism inherent in the incentives provided by property tax exemptions, the principal positions here are the invisible hand of the marketplace finding the best solution and the rule of unintended consequences when you interfere. I have no doubt you feel that taking our taxes and giving it to developers to build multifamily housing and low-income housing will provide more benefit to the broader community. But the truth is it only creates the specific benefit you are directing the incentive at, which necessarily will also include unintended consequences in the future. Again, I'm sure you're doing these specific tax incentives with good intentions, but what are the unintended consequences? Are we getting housing types that otherwise wouldn't pencil out as economically feasible? Does this mean those properties will fall into disrepair and dilapidation when the incentive period ends? Or will massive rent increases necessarily occur simply to meet ongoing repair and maintenance costs, leading to the public outcry about greedy, evil landlords? Will gentrification occur and all the outcry about the concept of historically marginalized groups? So let's see, the legislation called the Growth Management Act created artificial lines to restrict where housing may be built. This has resulted in reduced supply of property and housing units, driving up the cost of property, which means the only way the economics work out is to do multiple family housing. But multiple family housing property is in restricted supply, so now you infringe on our property rights of everyone who purchased with the expectation zoning would remain as residential single family by opening up multiple family housing everywhere in the city and removing any off-street parking requirements. And even then, you aren't getting the quantity of units you need, and now we're offering property tax incentives. I don't envy your difficult position, but don't act like you're ignorant of the unintended consequences. Just tell everybody that we may have more crony capitalism in the future, demanding change to the legislation that we implement today.
Thank you. Sunshine? And after Sunshine, Mars Diarman.
Sunshine Wiggin, Spokane. I'm here to talk about the Parks and Recreation money. My first week when I was born, I had brain surgery. I have a stent in my head, and I have a personality disorder. I don't express emotions, or only pain and love. When I started learning about birds in Washington, I would use binoculars to identify them. And our state bird is the golden finch. There are 500 documented types of birds in Washington. I think it would be neat to put a magnified binoculars on a pole and a plaque showing how to identify 3 to 5 types of birds on the park playgrounds of Spokane. I strongly support preserving and enjoying our bird population. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunshine. Mars Diarman. And after Mars, Lawrence Brown.
Good evening, council members. My name is Mars Diarman, and I'm a resident of Spokane. As a renter here, I'm deeply invested in policies that affect housing affordability and availability. I understand that these tax exemptions are intended to encourage housing development in Spokane. However, as a renter, I'm concerned about whether these projects will actually improve affordability. Can you clarify what percentage of the units in the Woodby and River Point developments will be designated as affordable housing and for how long? Additionally, what measures are in place to prevent displacement of existing renters in surrounding neighborhoods as property values rise? Thank you.
Thank you. Lawrence Brown, and after Lawrence, Heather Thomas Taylor.
Thank you very much, City Council members. My name is Lawrence Brown. I'm the 5th generation of 7 in Spokane. I am the owner of the Rid Path. It was a swindle, and of all the people that were involved in the beginning of that right now, 5 of them are dead and the other 2 are in prison. I decided to take this project and make something out of it instead of a hole in the ground. And it is now 90% occupied and is a success. The problem we have is all the people that are out in the street, on the streets, are scaring people and making things more difficult to do that. I would suggest that we sit there and seriously consider allowing me to go ahead and take on the surface parking lot across the street, and also across the street, I'm going to get a right of first refusal on those 2 pieces of property that are to the south of the original Skywalk, and I will build 400 apartments over there that will be affordable housing. And when you say affordable housing, I'm talking about things in the neighborhood of $950 a month, including utilities and Wi-Fi. That's a good deal. And we can do this if we can all get together and we'll make it work out so that what we want is people downtown and shopping and enjoying our city because it's a fabulous place. And I want to thank you all for what you do. Thanks.
Thank you. Heather Thomas Taylor?
Hello, my name is Heather Thomas Taylor, and I'm a resident of Emerson Garfield neighborhood. I'm here to share my support for providing additional funding for inclement weather shelters. I also want to show my support for the Brown administration's plan to use already existing shelters. Well, I think this is an efficient use of the city's money. I am also concerned about the feedback I've heard from people staying at some of these shelters. I don't want to name any organizations, but I encourage the city council to meet with actual people that are experiencing homelessness and receive their feedback and consider that when you make funding decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Tracy Guzman-Kowalski, and I probably butchered that last name. Guzman-Kowalski, welcome.
Good evening, Council President Wilkerson and members of the Spokane City Council. My name is Tracy Guzikowski. I am here today as a social work student, advocate, and intern in crisis response services in Spokane County. I'm here to support amended 1680 additional inclement weather funds, which allocate an additional $220,000 to expand emergency shelter services. This funding is a lifeline for Spokane's most vulnerable community members, unsheltered individuals, people with disabilities, and low-income families who face extreme risks during severe weather conditions. As a Master of Social Work student at Eastern Washington University and prospective social worker, I have seen firsthand extreme cold and inclement weather disproportionately impacting Spokane's unhoused population. I urge the City Council to not only improve this inclement weather funding increase, but also to commit to sustained efforts that prioritize housing stability and tenant protections. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are going to go to the consent agenda, except for item number 2. Is there any council commentary on those? Councilmember Bingo.
Yeah, on MFTE and the would-be specifically, I'll speak on both of these. So the MFTE, the MFTE has been an incredibly powerful economic tool for us to help encourage housing and get projects across the finish line. And for me, the MFTE makes sense when you're talking about something that currently isn't generating a ton of property tax revenue, even if we don't see it for 8 or 12, 20 years. Taking something that doesn't exist and making something that exists makes a ton of sense for us. Going from zero to something, to me, makes a lot of sense. Now, I will say I have been disappointed in the amount of MFTE programs or projects that have been that have turned into home ownership opportunities, and this is something that I've been pushing the last year or so with our team, is how do we find ways to make it to where it's not just something where big organizations or whoever is now taking a tax break to build their portfolio, but how do we get that? How do we use those tax incentives to help people to transition from renting into home ownership, which can have a generational change in the family when it comes to their financial situation. And so that is something that I'm working on quite a bit. On the would-be specifically, the would-be is getting an 8-year tax exemption. Now, the 8-year tax exemption does not have any level of affordability to go with it. The 8-year is not something that you can get citywide. The 8-year is only something you can get in distressed census tracts, and the purpose of putting a non-market or market rate housing in these areas as opposed to having portions of affordability is to try to create some economic diversity in areas. And so giving affordability requirements in areas that have more affluence is again part of that. And so the MFTE has been specifically used as the city to try to create some economic diversity in the areas. And to Sunshine's statement, I'm on the park board. I love the idea of the binoculars and finding birds in the parks. We have some incredible natural areas in our area, and as a park board member, those are things that we want to protect and maximize. And so if there's a way that we can find ways to enhance those and make them even better, I love that idea, and we're going to take that to the park board.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, so we're taking A and C right now, is that correct?
We're doing everything but 2, so we'll come
everything
back
but
and
two.
address
Got it.
2.
So, so just speaking then to number 1 on the tax exemption, if you want more of something, subsidize it. If you want less of it, tax it. I mean, it's an old adage that holds true in a lot of ways. And so that's really what this is. And at the end of the day, we have a supply issue, and that is why we have an affordability issue. There's just simply not enough supply, and therefore the market is not driving prices down. You can look at Seattle during COVID as people fled, and these ridiculously expensive apartments got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper because simply there was enough of them and not as many people, seeking them. And so you increase the supply, you lower the cost. And so that's really important, and that has been, I think, something that council generally has been pushing for in different ways, different policies and regulations. And, one thing we do need to address is simply the permitting process and the time it takes to get a permit and what goes into that. And that is certainly being addressed. There's some additional folks being hired to help work on that. But at the end of the day, we're not necessarily the easiest place to build. We should be, but we're not. And so that is why, again, incentives like this help to encourage more housing to get located in the city of Spokane. And so that's why I'll be supporting number 1.
Any other council commentary? Councilmember Klitsky.
I'll just address one more thing that was brought up. Somebody talked about depreciation or these multifamily tax exemption buildings being built and then not maintained. We have been working on that issue. We've created a landlord registry. We're working on also creating other standards for people to keep their buildings up. So stay tuned, but we have made progress on that issue.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Bingo.
Lastly, if you have more questions on affordability and how we can address that, feel free to reach out. I'd love to chat with you guys about that.
Great. All right. All those in favor of the consent agenda except for item 2, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? Abstentions? That's passed. On to number 2, amendments regarding the inclement weather. We were going to take A and C, A being the Salvation Army and C being Revive Counseling together. Any council commentary on those 2? Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, I'll speak to this. So I've said it here in recent weeks, but this goes back several years to an effort that former Councilmember Stratton and myself really tried to pursue in terms of making sure that location where the Salvation Army, what was called the Way Out Shelter then, it's now transitional housing, but making sure that as it turned into transitional housing, that it did not remain a shelter. The point of the transitional housing is that you are getting folks who are trying to improve their situation. They're trying to get off of potential substance abuse. They're trying to, just make their life better, and to force them into a situation where they are having to interact with folks that might not be in that same position in life. I don't think is fair to anybody, and frankly, I think it sets us back as a community. And that was why we stretched out an agreement with the Salvation Army for months, trying to get an agreement on that. And in the end, unfortunately, we were not able to secure it, but there was a big effort to do so, and I still strongly believe that. So I do not support using the Way Out Shelter, as it's referred to here. It should not be a shelter in that way. With regard to Revive, that is just simply a transparency issue. I continue to be frustrated with the lack of transparency that's going on between Empire and Revive, and I don't think it's the right thing for our community. I think we need to have open dialogue, and you know, one of the most important, if not the most important thing government can do and should do is to be transparent. If they can't be transparent, you can't trust us. And at the end of the day, that's the situation why I can't vote for C.
Councilmember Zepone.
Yeah, I'll just respond to the information about the Way Out shelter and Salvation Army. As the representative of the district where that shelter is located, who attends the neighborhood council meetings where that shelter or the Salvation Army attends and the neighbors in that district, there's no concern from them about using that for inclement weather. And the Way Out shelter and Salvation Army have actually recommended the use, that they keep population separated and that it does not cause problems for the different populations and doesn't put them at risk, but is actually helping people in inclement weather situations while also providing that transitional housing out. So I will be supporting this.
Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, I was just one quick thing. You know, again, Salvation Army wanted it to be used as a shelter 4 years ago when we had the big opposition to it. And in fact, there was strong opposition to good neighbor agreements, which we don't have in place. And so I think that that would be a way to improve situations, you know, where you have a shelter in neighborhoods or near neighborhoods. But in this case, it's just simply an issue of combining populations that really just should not be combined, and we should respect those who are really, truly trying to improve themselves or have improved themselves and are on just the verge of greatness, and we're risking pulling them back, and I just don't think that's fair.
Councilmember Dillon.
Yeah, this was the first time that we had budgeted as high amount for inclement weather contracts. Previously, it was, well, for the last couple of years, it was $250,000, which I think we all agreed was very woefully inadequate. So this is our first time with this new process, and excited to approve these contracts. One thing that I just do want to address, kind of the distinction between this funding for inclement weather contracts and substance abuse. Would urge folks to check out our public safety committee today. Some of the information that the chief presented related to overdoses between folks that are on the streets versus that are in their home residence or at a place of business, where if you combine the two, that is the majority. And if you look at the opioid dashboard with the health district, it would also verify that. But on the regional side, responding to overdoses, I would really recommend folks get involved with the Spokane Regional Opioid Task Force. They meet the first Thursday of every month from 12:30 to 1:30, and those meetings are available to the public.
And I'll just say, based on the data when we did the roundtables, really the need is during cold weather when we need shelter. Somehow people can survive a little better in the summertime and even through smoke, but when it is cold and freezing and you have the potential to lose your limbs, that is challenging. And so there are more cold days based on the data than there are hot days. So I'll be supporting. Also, at this point, to scale up to get a new shelter just set up for weather inclement is challenging, finding space and providers to do the work. So helping the existing ones build capacity during this time is really, to me, the most economical and effective way to provide for this. So with that being said, I'm going to take a vote on A, then B, and then C. Because you think A and C together? All right. All those in favor of A and C, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any noes?
No.
Abstentions? The ayes have it. On B, which is the Catholic Charities, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any noes?
No.
Abstentions? The ayes have it. Thank you so much for that. On to our legislative agenda. Ms. Pfister.
Resolution 2025-5 approving year 2026 applications and 2025 adaptive projects to be paid from the Spokane Safe Streets for All Fund not to exceed $2,875,000.
We have a number of public comment. Eric Lowe, Justin Holler, and Derek Azaro.
Good evening. Last weekend, there were 2 pedestrian fatalities within the city limits of Spokane. On Friday night, Douglas Martindale, age 66, was struck by a vehicle while in a marked crosswalk at the intersection of West Heroy Avenue and North Alberta Street, which is within the school zone of Glover Middle School. On Monday night, Zalhan Chen, age 72, was struck by a vehicle trying to cross the 4-lane Woodstocks Way at Randolph Road, next to Spokane Falls Community College. There are no marked crosswalk and no safe means to reach a crosswalk from Spokane Transit Bus Stop 1083. This, despite the substantial multifamily residential growth on the south side of Woodstocks Way over the last few years. Apparently, a pedestrian hybrid beacon is slated to be installed at that intersection, but it comes too late for Ms. Chen. Too little, too late should be the motto for Spokane's Public Works Department. Last fall, I sat in the mayor's office and told her directly that Spokane was moving much too slowly in implementing the directives laid out in the Janet Mann Safe Streets for All resolution and her accompanying executive orders. I stand here tonight, a week after 2 pedestrian fatalities, looking at a total of 7 adaptive projects for the entirety of 2025. The point of adaptive projects like those proposed in tonight's resolution was that they can be installed cheaply and quickly. At the rate of 7 projects per year, we should reach Vision Zero in approximately never. It has become clear to me that Public Works needs a bit more direction. They still are prioritizing the convenience of drivers over the well-being of Spokane's residents. Spokane Reimagined has prepared a draft resolution for your review and hopefully approval. The resolution directs Public Works to take immediate action in the wake of fatal traffic collisions. Our goal with this resolution is that within 48 hours of any traffic fatality, Public Works installs adaptive traffic controls to slow vehicles until a proper study of the fatality can be conducted and permanent infrastructure be delivered. While this resolution would cover the vast majority of city streets, it cannot address our most dangerous roads, the state highways that divide our communities and terrorize our neighborhoods, without WashDOT's approval. As a result, the resolution also directs the mayor to work with Washington's Department of Transportation to develop a similar program for state highways like Division, Francis, and Trent. While these changes will come too late for Mr. Martindale and Ms. Chen, I hope that we can take inspiration from their loss to make Spokane more resilient and responsive to the crisis on our streets. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Justin?
Go ahead, Justin, you're unmuted.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello?
We can hear you,
Can you
Justin.
hear me
Go ahead.
now?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I'm wondering if there are going to be any pedestrian tickets or jaywalking tickets going to be issued downtown. Maybe it would limit the amount of weirdness downtown, particularly at Division and Second, where a lot of the fun happens, as it were, or for some people, not so much fun. You know, it seems like everywhere that Rob McCann opens up a new low-income crack den, there seems to be problems. And I'm wondering if anyone's going to address the issues that happen around Rob McCann's low-income buildings, because that seems to be the focus of where everything goes wrong. And I wish you guys would focus on that and concentrate on what happens around that area, and maybe have some police in that area, because it would limit the amount of copulation, as it were, with between pedestrians and cars. There's already no trespass or no jaywalking signs, but it would be great if you actually would have the SPD enforce it, and maybe homeless people wouldn't be lurching out into the streets anymore. That's it.
Thank you. Derek Azaro, and then Will Hewings.
Derek Azaro, formerly Logan Neighborhood. I'm going to speak on this tonight, mainly because I spent years fighting for a sidewalk on Marietta Avenue by Yashahura School to make so the kids can walk to school safely. This is what brought me to all these meetings all these years, is to fight for that. And it looks as though tonight, one of the projects on this list is Marietta Avenue. I'd like to thank my council members for all the effort they put in for me doing this, and to the council, hopefully you'll vote for this. I'd like to take the opportunity also to point something out real quick. The speedo lights, the speed lights, okay, I'm going to tell you where these are. These are violations. December 1st to the 31st, right, to 2024. Longvale Elementary, first highest, 362 violations. Willard, 293 violations. Adams Ferris, 247 violations. Ridgeview Elementary, fourth highest, 179 violations. That's just December. January 1st to the 31st, Adams Ferris Elementary, Adams Ferris, first highest, 491 violations. Willard Elementary School, 259 violations. Longvale Elementary School, 255 violations. Ridgeview Elementary School, 208 violations. This is where the highest number of these tickets are being given out. I'd like to push tonight for all these photo cameras to be put around every single school in this city. It's pretty obvious that all of this is going on around the schools. These are all violation tickets that were handed out just in those months alone. And this is winter. So the good weather is coming. You know, I would soon be more tickets going out. This is very important that I fought for all these years just for a simple stretch of sidewalk going from Yashahura School down to Hamilton Avenue. 4 years of fighting for that. And then I see all these reports on the cameras. We've asked many, many times over the years to have these cameras put on Hamilton Avenue because of all this, the 60-mile-an-hour traffic going up and down that street. I can tell you every day at around 3 o'clock, all the kids from Yashahura, all the kids from Logan Elementary School, they go to the donut shop over there. A lot of the kids, because they give out free donuts every day between 3 and 3:30 or so. That corner has a ton of kids around it, just crossing there, if anything. That's the only light, really, they can cross safely. But all these cars are going up and down Hamilton doing literally 60 miles an hour and higher all day. Big trucks, we've seen city trucks, bus, all kinds of stuff. So we really like to see, you know, one of these speed cameras put on Hamilton at some time in the near future. But overall, I guess my fight now for the sidewalk is coming to an end finally. Hopefully it's going in pretty soon. It looks like the money for that's available tonight. But please add on these lights to around every single school in the city should have these lights around them, because look at all the violations. This is the highest violation counts.
And thank you, Derek.
Thank
Your
you.
time is up. Will, and after Will, Gina McKenzie, and then Sunshine Wiggin.
Good evening. My name is Will Hewlings, and I live downtown Spokane. I expressed my opposition to Resolution 2025-5, not because I am against making Spokane streets safer, but because I believe this resolution, as written, does not properly prioritize real safety improvements. Let me be clear. I fully support using the Spokane Streets for All Fund for genuine infrastructure projects that enhance safety. I support pedestrian and bicycle safety programs, sidewalk repairs, and even personnel dedicated to engineering and community outreach to ensure that these projects are designed and implemented effectively. These are real measurable ways to make our streets safer, and they align with what the Traffic Calming Fund was originally intended to do. However, what I strongly oppose is the inclusion of so-called adaptive design strategies. I spoke about this months ago, but there's a lot of research on it, and I don't know if you guys did it, but it sounds cool. So across the country, we've seen this term used to justify frivolous, unnecessary, and even divisive projects. Now, what kind of divisive project am I talking about? In my own neighborhood, this rainbow crosswalk. That was used with traffic calming funds. Cost like $20,000 to paint that crosswalk. It took they had to shut down the whole Spokane Falls Boulevard so they can paint that. Then you had little Lisa Brown out there for a photo op painting stripes on it. And then what did people do? They peeled out on it. Zappone wanted to get a hate crime because these kids riding their Lime scooters left tire marks. So all that does, that type of stuff just causes division. And as a cyclist, someone that rides year-round, that lives downtown, you guys could be fixing the roads. How about fixing the cracks? How about the potholes? But these armadillo things are a joke. They're little plastic football things you put on the road. There's a lot of controversy about them, too. A lot of people want them banned in other parts of the world, like in England, where they're pretty big. But I do my research, and I don't support this, and you should focus your money on other things, like fixing our roads.
Thank you, Will. Gina McKenzie? And then again, Sunshine. Welcome.
Good evening, Council President and council members. My name is Gina McKenzie, and I'm coming down here tonight because I'm a little confused. I've been a member of the Corbin Park neighborhood for 40 years. I have always been concerned and tried to serve there, and co-wrote the Historic District application 1990-ish and done a lot of work. So Resolution Exhibit A, District 3, it says Emerson, Garfield, Buckeye, Washington, northbound only. I'm confused because this has come up that in January, council member Zappone attended our Emerson Garfield meeting, and he told us that they were going to be closed. Now, if I hopefully I understood him properly, but I take good notes. So they're going to close southbound Washington at Buckeye at the light there, which is the only light to egress out of the Corbin Park area. He said we didn't have to worry about it because you weren't voting on it until April. Well, here's March 3rd, so I don't know why that happened. And then in the Exhibit A, it says northbound only. I don't know what that means, so I'm a little confused. That we did tell them that we'd like to have Euclid close at the top of the Division Street Hill because cars come down there and hit houses. Okay, so I sent a letter on the 2nd of February to everybody here, including the mayor, that got it because I was concerned about closing this lane down. I've talked to many people in the area, and nobody thinks it's a great idea except for the guy with the giant rocks in front of his house on the northwest corner of that intersection. And they're very confused about what good that would be to close that lane down. So we had, as far as I am understanding, we had no traffic surveys of that intersection. And so now we're voting. It seems to be putting the carriage before the horse because we're voting funding for this. I don't even know what the project is, and the neighbors don't know. I know very few neighbors are in the Facebook page for Corbin Park homeowners, so very few people out of like 100 households get notified that way, and very few are a member of Emerson Garfield. I was told that there was a survey. Ms. Kliski came to our last month's meeting, and she said there was a survey. Well, I've talked to a lot of the people, and nobody got surveyed, even coming around to their home, especially on the park, which are the major users. Closing that lane will cost $200,000. I don't understand why we're having a meeting Thursday night, a town hall, in which very few people will have been advised because there's no paper notification going out to the entire neighborhood. I'm confused, I'm concerned, and nobody wants this lane closure, so we'll be getting a lot more input for you folks. Thank you so
Gina.
much.
Sunshine, and then Sarah Rose.
Sunshine Wiggins, Spokane. So on the Post Street Bridge, I have a lot of issues with that bridge, man. People be lollygagging, and they're like, oh, it's so pretty. Oh crap, I'm just walking out in front of the car. Like, can you guys please put some ropes on there? I have actually hit someone on there already. So the other part is, and it was kind of an elderly person. So the other thing too, thank God I was going slow, and they were fine. But the whole point being is, can you please put a little bit of ropes there for us so that they have to actually walk around to and not across? Because you guys put the benches right by where we drive, so they tend to think it's just like a little walking bridge. I really like that bridge, but not only that, we need more markers saying that it's a one-way, because they are going the wrong way all day. So thank you.
Thank you, Sunshine. Sarah?
Hello, my name is Sarah Rose from Spokane. Last week I wrote comments which I was going to share at council tonight. I was going to stress how 7 adaptive design projects is not enough for the size of our city and the crisis that we're in when it comes to safe streets. I was going to tell you this and get really nerdy about street design and public policy and tell you you need to use that willpower to make change in Spokane going forward. Then I saw it was on the agenda for tonight, and I didn't attend council last Monday. Instead, I witnessed a woman receiving CPR outside of SFCC after she was hit by a pickup truck and killed. I changed my notes, and I was going to tell you about that experience and what it was like to witness that for everyone there that had to witness that. Witness her daughter crying at the loss of her mother and her grandson becoming a man in that moment, because I think everyone there saw that. The first responders, the driver, the dozens of bystanders, myself included. I was going to tell you about all that, and then I learned about a man who was hit and killed crossing at Glover Middle School on Friday. I rewrote my comments, but then Thursday night I saw someone unconscious lifted into an ambulance after they were hit by a car in a crosswalk outside my favorite bookstore. I don't know if that person is doing okay, but I wish them a speedy recovery if they're still alive. I wish a speedy recovery to the other dozen people who were hit by vehicles this week in Spokane and injured. Injured due to our poor street design, our lack of accountability, and our lack of action on the city's part. Yesterday, it was someone on an e-bike killed. Today, someone was hit on 2nd and Division, 3 blocks south of where, on Saturday, a memorial was placed for the 15-year anniversary of the death of David Squires on Division and Sprague. I would like to take a moment of silence for all those people killed by vehicular violence and their families. Thank you. You're the only people that can do something about this crisis right now. I ask that you use this time on City Council to not just push resolutions, but push the departments who should be working on solutions to do the work and implement safer designs as quickly as possible so we can prevent more unnecessary deaths and trauma for people living in this city. Because I love this city, and I know you all love this city very much as well. Please pass these 7 adaptive design projects, but do so much more. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. That concludes public comment. Any council commentary? Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, well, and that's really hard to hear. So definitely prayers for the individuals involved, and definitely hope for a speedy recovery. So changing gears just a little bit, I want to first thank council for last week approving an amendment to this traffic calming ordinance that would switch out a project for one that came to Councilmember Bingles and myself's radar a little bit more recently, but one that's very important. And so we had the opportunity to meet with the leadership at Regal Elementary, and we heard about some of the issues that they are dealing with, including just significantly reduced attendance. And of course, there's a myriad of reasons for that, no doubt. But, you know, one of the reasons that they point to, and they have a walking school bus that kind of helps to affirm this, is the fact that it's very challenging to cross Wellesley. And many of the students have to cross Wellesley to attend Regal. And, you know, we don't set the boundaries for schools. You know, I wish there was more consideration, and perhaps there was, and it's just not possible. But to try to keep arterial crossing to an absolute minimum, with regards to those districts. But the fact is that the lines are drawn the way they are. And so we want to make sure those kids can access Regal Elementary safely. And so this would upgrade the crossing at Lacey and Wellesley to include an RRFB, so it would be much safer for those students and the walking school bus and frankly, any other citizen who's trying to cross right there. It's not that far from Haven Market, and so there is some activity there, so it makes a lot of sense. So we switched that out for a project that was at Crestline and Lee. And what I'm hoping for that project is that we can work with the county, because this project really truly bridges the city and the county. It's right on the line, and it truly serves both populations, Morgan Acres on one side, Shiloh Hills on the other. And so I've already reached out to Commissioner Waldriff and hoping that we can find some way to work on this together to fund it and get that going in probably 27. The other two projects that are included in this are the sidewalks on Marietta, as you heard about, which has been a long time coming. And you know, there's of course been just a big outcry from not just Derek, but thank you, Derek, for bringing it to our attention, but some of the neighbors there as well. And Councilmember Bingle and I have gone out there and visited, and there's been some other issues that we've helped deal with in the past, but this is an important one, and so we're glad that this is possible. There were some questions just with some potential environmental remediation because of the recycling center that this goes by, but it sounds like that's not going to be an issue, so that's really positive. The other is, for District 1, speaking specifically, is at the Haven Market kind of intersection there near where like the Safeway is, if you know where that is, there on Market. And so this would create another safe crossing for pedestrians in that area where, again, we want to make sure that pedestrians are safe. You know, one of the challenges we face is funding. And so in response to some of the comments, you know, Derek, you brought up the cameras, and we have tried for years and years actually to get more cameras installed. I think there is a little bit of an effort going on right now to do that. I don't entirely know all the ins and outs. It's a little bit out of the hands of traffic calming at this point where a lot of this originated, but there is a big effort. And so it requires a lot of intensive time and attention. Both the company that operates those, that's not something operated by us, it's a different company, as well as SPD and our engineers. They have to go out and look at it, look at the data, make sure it makes sense. There's a cost to these, not just the actual cost of the device, but of course the cost in our municipal court and, you know, dealing with sort of the outcome of these citations. And so we also face some changes in the legislature that are reducing our ability to raise funds. We're seeing a dwindling traffic calming fund, Safe Streets funds as it's now called. But we're seeing, you know, a trajectory that's just going down. And so without some changes potentially at the legislative level, it's not entirely clear how that will change over time. But right now it doesn't look great. And we're also restricted in terms of which census tracts you can put some of these in and things like that. Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me in how they've regulated this, but nonetheless, that is it. And so if you really do want to see more cameras and more of this, there is also a legislative component, and so encourage you to reach out to your state representatives and state senators and share your concerns there. The other comment I just want to make is, you know, there was the idea of this resolution and the 48 hours. You know, I completely respect this concept, but at the end of the day, this is not Public Works. I mean, it's us. You know, but it's not just us. It's the funding, as I just talked about. If we had the funding, we would be doing some of those things and making that possible. We don't have the funding. And so 48 hours is a great idea. I'd love to see us do a lot of things in 48 hours. It doesn't happen. Government does not work that way. As much as I would love big ships to turn, you know, real fast like that, it just does not. But can we have a long-term goal trajectory to improve, you know, our ability to implement these things? Can we look over time to add more resources to increase capacity to do more projects? You know, this is something I've advocated for over and over and over. But again, dwindling resources has made it very challenging to do this sort of thing. But over time, if enough funds could be raised, if cameras are installed, if the legislature changes certain things, I mean, there is some possibilities there. But I don't think it's fair to blame Public Works. That is not, I don't think, where the blame belongs. And so I would just disagree with that. I think that this, you know, at the end of the day, it comes down to council allocating money and making things happen, but we have to have the money to do it. And so as much as I respect the idea of the resolution, I just don't think that that's the right angle to take if indeed that were to come forward to council. But that would require 2 sponsors. So we'll see where that goes. But I'll leave it there. I just, again, want to say, there is, I think, a strong acknowledgement that we need more pedestrian protections and mitigations. But funding is what funding is. And so at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're stuck with.
Your council commentary? Councilmember Klitsky.
I just want to thank everybody who testified. Strongly agree with all of you on a lot of these issues. Definitely would love to see more speed cameras. I think Councilmember Cathcart outlined some of the challenges we face trying to get those. So please do continue to also communicate to the legislature about that, because we are regulated in how, where, and how many we can, and how much we can charge for the tickets as well. As far as the fatalities, I think you're doing a really good service here, coming here and telling us about this stuff and contextualizing it and bringing the stories. I also like that you came with a solution. And I would encourage you to please keep doing that. It matters a lot. And I would love if we had videos of what you said today to be able to bring that to the Washington Transportation Commission and other areas where we're challenged with funding. But funding is another issue with this, but I think there is a political will component to this stuff too. So please do keep coming and weighing in. As far as the Buckeye situation, we are still having a town hall. This is a placeholder for funding. We know we want to do something. We certainly don't want to do something that the neighborhood doesn't want, but we've been asked for solutions, then we've heard different versions of what people want. So hopefully this town hall will be a place where we can work it out together with the neighborhood.
Councilmember Dillon, and then Councilmember Zappone.
I think this process for what we're approving tonight was really collaborative. It was really positive. I think we saw council members really come to a consensus on this, working with Councilmember Zappone and Councilmember Cathcart. And also, this is my second year on the subcommittee, and I saw something very different in how these projects kind of came together. And I really want to shout out Comstock, who passed a resolution to reprioritize a project that was cheaper, more affordable. It made more fiscal sense, and that allowed more funding for other projects. And so I think oftentimes, when we think of traffic calming, there can be this, whether it's competitiveness or pitting neighborhoods against each other. We really saw the opposite of that from my view with this process. And also really excited about the 2 projects in East Central. Particularly want to shout out Goodwill for coming to the table and supporting the flashing pedestrian beacon on 3rd and Cali. If you can visualize 3rd Avenue, you're going from Division all the way to Sherman without anything in between. So that's a massive project near a bus stop that'll really help serve folks, as well as in Lincoln Heights, a nice connective work to the Altamont traffic study. Obviously, as we're approving this on these recent tragedies, and again, I just want to echo Councilmember Klitsky, thanking the advocates for raising these issues. It is an emergency. It is a crisis. I think every death is preventable and a call to action to do better. There is a lot more that we can be doing, looking at the different levers for funding. I think retooling our Complete Streets ordinance, which has not been changed since we passed it in 2011. And that has more of the interface with the Publics Department. So I think there are things that we can do, and I'm definitely leaving here tonight with that call to action. So thank you.
Councilmember Zappone?
Yeah, a lot of this also resonates with a lot of the work that I've been doing here on council for the 3 years. With respect to Washington Buckeye, the town hall is Thursday at the Corbin Senior Center, so I'm sure we'll see you there and tell your other neighbors too. But I think that the origin of that's important to know, that this project came up from hearing from people in the neighborhood who said this was a problem intersection, who then ranked it as their top choice for an intervention. And now other people are hearing about it. And so there's mixed views on it. It's not, unanimous by any means on one way. And so what's really important is that we've been actually advocating for an adaptive solution to pilot a project and test it out. And that was the idea of adaptive designs, is to test something out rather than the original design that was top ranked was about $1 million of a concrete project that would have had him one way. So this is a much, much more affordable project that gives those potential solutions to test them out to see if it causes more problems. So that is the intent of that. But I fully agree with the sentiment that it's too little too late. When we talked about adaptive projects last year, I was not advocating for, hoping for only 7 adaptive design projects, but was advocating for a lot more. And we spent a lot of hours behind the scenes advocating for it with Public Works. And I do think that there's been a cultural shift within Public Works, and I really want to thank Mayor Brown and her administration for leading that. Where we would have been before this would have been nowhere, frankly, because it was 2 years of just going nowhere. So I think that there has been a shift. And I know we have a new director of transportation who is fully supportive of this and has great ambition and intent. And I hope he hears this and feels the public support for lots of immediate action. And we're working on redoing some of the process on these projects on how they're scored so that we can prioritize data, frankly, around traffic collisions and safety that's not currently in the process. It's higher ranked based on neighborhood preferences, but when there are collisions and fatalities, those often get ignored. So for example, on North Indian Trail, there were 2 fatalities in 2 years that just got a safer crossing this last winter. And that was after me spending many hours advocating for changing that. So it's appreciated that you all show up. We hear you, and we want the full city staff to hear that there's the public wants these changes, and we should be advocating and supporting that.
Yes, Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing. There was brought up Logan and some of the issues on Hamilton. And I do just want to say that, there is a walking school bus that crosses right there at Donut Parade, Illinois and Hamilton. And so it's been recently brought to our attention just how difficult of a crossing that is. And of course, kids and other people who are crossing there, it's not the easiest. So we are beginning conversations to see what might be possible there. But it is early, and so we'll see where we can get. But I do think that should be a priority.
Councilmember Bingo.
Yeah, I do. I do agree with a lot of these projects. I hope that a lot more of them are going to be able to come forward. Do want to, again, shout out Derek Azaro for doing yeoman's work on the Marietta and getting us some sidewalks there, and I want to highlight the power of the input of the residents who live in our districts. And there are things that, we live in the district, we drive it, we do it, we walk it, we hang out at the parks, we go to the restaurants, we hang out at the coffee shops, whatever it is. But there's still a lot that we can't see because we can't see everything. And so people like Derek and others in the district, I would encourage you to be as involved as you can be, because it is through Derek's advocacy that we are able to get something done on that. And those projects can happen in your neighborhood as well. Particularly when you are, and I mean this with all due respect, the squeaky wheel that Derek was, and making sure that we keep that in front of our minds. And so again, thank you to you, and I would encourage others to take that as well and go forward with it. On the speed cameras and different cameras in general throughout the city, I know Councilmember Zappone has been working on this at the legislative level, advocating for us. They're helping us to understand the different programs, the different projects, how they're going to be able to be implemented here. And so shout out to Councilmember Zappone for his efforts there. Along Hamilton all the way up Nevada, which really bisects our district, we have 7 different schools on Hamilton and Nevada. And so starting with obviously a university, we have Gonzaga there, but then we've got Yasahara, we've got Logan, Gonzaga Prep, not too far off there, Longfellow, Gary, the Spokane International Academy, again, not all that far. We've got a lot of people crossing Hamilton and Nevada for school. Not to mention parks, right? Particularly in Shiloh Hills neighborhood where there's no parks east of Nevada there, we have people crossing these streets all the time. And so it is a priority of ours to make sure that we're making it safer for people to cross, because again, it does get very difficult to see, every month another tragedy like this, another incident where somebody lost their life because crossing is difficult and dangerous. And if you look at the amount of deaths from incidents like this, it's going to be higher than a lot of crime. And we take crime very seriously. And so it is something that I want everybody to hear. It is a very serious thing for all of us. And we do absolutely understand the urgency with which we need to address this issue, because it is such a danger for people in our community to be doing that, and not a one of us would say that that's acceptable. And so lastly, I will give a plug again for the walking school bus. If you are looking for a good project to volunteer in, I get questions all the time of, we want to help, but we don't know how, and we don't have a ton of time. If you've got a morning where it's a 30-minute walk where you're just going around helping families, and after COVID, when kids weren't actually going to the school buildings anymore, it got really comfortable for a lot of families for them to not actually be sending them. And again, one of our schools here, we just learned that there's one bus for the entire school, which is mind-blowing to me. We have one bus for that. And so the walking school bus helps us go to the different areas and help families get their kids safely to school with adult supervision and adult chaperoning there. So if you're looking for a way to get involved, I think that's a good one.
Well, thank you all. I certainly support that. But I first want to give a shout out to Abby Martin, who has shepherded a lot of this work and maybe have interfaced with many of you around adaptive designs. And remember, adaptive designs is to help change people's behavior. It's a way to start, to see what will come out of that. And so that's why we're going forward. It's a lesser cost to see what type of outcome we could get or how we could proceed further to make it more permanent. Also, a lot of the conversation has been around our schools. Now, let's be realistic. We don't control the schools. You're right, we don't control the boundaries. But I have to say we had quite a great conversation with John Snyder, our new transportation person, because the partnership, I think, with the public school district is critical in how we go forward. And some of the issues are we control some things and the school district controls other parts, especially around the middle school issue that kind of went on longer than it should have going forward. So again, we are partnering. I'm glad to hear that we're coming together. Any fatality is one too many, and around our schools really could be avoided if we just lean in. But please remember, we are doing our part. Lean in on your public school system and ask them to do their part as well. Please prepare to vote. Thank you. Ms. Pfister?
Resolution 2025-13, setting hearing before City Council for April 14, 2025 for the vacation of the west 150 feet of the alley between Mission and Cinto from Ruby to Pearl, as requested by Chick-fil-A.
Have one public comment, or two, Justin Holler and Hugh Aziz. Justin?
Go ahead, Justin, you're unmuted.
Yeah, hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why Chick-fil-A was shut down last time at 29th based on somebody's opposition when they had strong religious opposition. And this time, I think it's more about traffic legitimately, because if you're going to shut down STA traffic shut down one lane of bus traffic for STA buses on Division or Ruby, it's going to be a complete fustercluck with traffic at that intersection. I don't know how you're going to mitigate the copious amounts of cars that are going to be waiting in line for a Chick-fil-A there. I have nothing wrong with Chick-fil-A. I don't care one way or the other about what the business is, but I think the fact that you're already wanting to shut down one lane of traffic for STA buses on Ruby at that intersection, having a well-known, well-established, really busy drive-through establishment is going to further decimate the traffic in that area. And I don't know how that's going to work, or even if you've thought about the two of those ideas overlaying. So that's it.
Thank you. Hugh Aziz? Seeing none, he's not here. Council commentary? Any? Councilmember?
Yeah, I
Bingo.
just want to say I represent Spokane's best district. That's why they call it District Number 1. But one of the things that makes us great is we're going to have not only Spokane's only Chick-fil-A, we're going to have Spokane's only 2 Chick-fil-A's in my district, and God bless it.
Any other council commentary? Nope. Councilmember Dillon?
Don't know if a Fuster Cluck is something I would order at a chicken establishment.
It was a pun, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, this is setting a hearing. It's not a final vote. So it is really just setting a public hearing. We're not taking final action on anything tonight.
Prepare to vote. Any other council commentary? Prepare to vote. Thank you. Ms. Pfister?
Resolution 2025-14, setting hearing before City Council for April 14, 2025 for the vacation of Grace Avenue west of Northwest Boulevard as requested by Excelsior Wellness.
Great, we have public comment. Justin Holler?
Go ahead, Justin.
Pass.
Thank you. Any council commentary? Prepare to vote. Thank you.
Resolution 2025-15 is deferred to March 10, 2025 agenda. Resolution 2025-16, acknowledging the recommendation of the Neighborhood Project Advisory Committee for the West Quadrant Tax Increment Financing District and accepting the use of $138,876 in TIF funding for public improvements to be installed as part of the 27 by 2027 Urban Mobility Network project.
There is no public comment. Any council commentary? Councilmember Bingo?
Yeah, I'm actually excited for this fund, and I think it's going to be used in a lot of ways to further, some of the safety improvements that we've been discussing here. You're going to notice there that it's for improvements as part of the 27 by 27 resolution that we passed, and this TIF is solely from an increase in the tax of that particular area and can only be used there. And so I think this one, now that they're getting a fair amount of money in that fund. I think they've got a couple $1 million now, and I think that that's going to start going out the door and implementing projects like this. There's also some affordable housing that can be used for it, so I believe there's an affordable housing project that's being funded solely out of this fund, and so excited to see what more can come out of it.
Great. Councilmember Klitsky?
I just want to acknowledge how outstanding this advisory committee has been. They've been thorough, they've been complete, they've been knowledgeable and really fair, and compliment you for acknowledging this great project in the actual best district.
Well, as council president, I think they're all pretty great.
Oh, of course you would,
Any
yeah.
other council commentary? Prepare to vote. Thank you.
First reading ordinances, Ordinance C 36644, amending Ordinance C 14947 that vacated a portion of Nettleton Street in the city of Spokane. Ordinance C 36645, amending Ordinance C 22933 that vacated that portion of Grace Avenue except the north 10 feet of the south half thereof from the extended west line of vacated Nettleton Street to the arc of a circle having a radius of 37.5 feet, the center point of which is the center point of the existing cul-de-sac and located on the center line of Grace Avenue. Ordinance C 36646, interim zoning ordinance concerning permitting and encouraging construction projects in downtown Spokane, contributing to the revitalization of downtown Spokane, fixing inconsistencies in height limits between zones, adopting a new Chapter 17C.425 SMC interim height limits, setting a public hearing for March 24, 2025, and establishing a work program. Further action is deferred on the first reading ordinances.
Thank you. We have 3 public comments for the first reading. It'll be Justin Holler, Will Hewlings, and then Dennis Flynn.
Go ahead, Justin. Justin, you're unmuted if you want to speak on first reading ordinances.
How about Will? Is Will Hewlings in the gallery?
Justin, can you hit *3?
Height limits, Will.
All right.
Height limits.
Will, come on down. Will, we're trying to get Justin online. Wow.
All right, good evening again. I thought that was deferred. This is on height limits?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
First
perfect.
reading.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm wasting time. Well, anyways, I don't need my phone. I strongly oppose this for the simple fact, as someone that lives downtown, I don't want skyscrapers blocking my nice view. I also know that there's a reason why a lot of times, obviously it's for housing here in Spokane, but obviously I'm thinking more political, but the CCP, the Communist Chinese Party, loves building high-rises. And there's a big reason. And a lot of the talking points that you guys use, they used. And so, like I said, there's a lot of reasons, obviously, and I understand that we want to get more housing downtown, more affordable housing, but along with creating larger and bigger buildings, we got to have police. You got to have more fire department, bigger fire department. Like where I live at, I call crime check, and half the time they don't show up. So you're going to build some big building and move, say maybe 1,000 or 800 or whatever it is into this building. And, so that's my major concern. And, and like I said, I think we could use money in different ways than building big, tall buildings downtown. I mean, there's more. I mean, I just don't have my speech in front of me. But thank you.
Thank you, Will. Dennis?
Council, Dennis Flynn, I live near St. Charles. Having lived here all my 55 years, I completely recall with vivid recollection previous discussions on removing height limits downtown. And there's one crown jewel of Spokane, because I might get on Will's bad side here. I'm not against raising limits on buildings downtown, but there's one crown jewel in Spokane that deserves special consideration, and it is not the county courthouse. It's Riverfront Park. Riverfront has become more than the great intent it originally was. It's an attraction zone for residents, visitors, conventions, tourism, special event destinations. An intrinsically key value that makes Riverfront Park so special is that there are height restrictions in place to specifically protect the park from the shadow of south buildings. Sunlight touching the convention center, Loof Carousel, Rotary Fountain, the Ice Ribbon, the Bloomsday Runners, all the way to the falls, the pavilion, and across the river must be protected. Whatever this ordinance does for heights and buildings downtown overall, it must include protecting Riverfront Park from shadows during the spring, summer, and fall, and preferably in the winter also.
Thank you. Is Justin available?
Justin, I'm going to unmute you if you want to speak on first reading ordinances. Go ahead when you're ready.
No? All right. That concludes our legislative agenda. We will now transition to open forum. Please direct all your comments at the chair. No booing, no clapping, no obscenities. You do have 2 minutes to speak. And our list is, okay. We're going to start with Christine Quinn and then Will Quinn. Is Christine still with us? I see her out in the, Christine Quinn and then Will Quinn.
Okay. Judge Mary Logan's Community Court has become, or it is, a revolving door of dismissals. with no accountability and no consequences, and I've lost my voice. The community court model is a great one. I've seen it work, and this is not a great one, and it's not working as it should. Gavin Looper's death was preventable. Brandon Berkeley was on community supervision for 3 felonies, despite having, he's never been sentenced to prison. He was at the exact same house 7 years ago and shot at it, and the case was dismissed. So that's it.
Thank you. Will Quinn? Teresa? Oh.
Trying to get a feel for 2 minutes.
Oh. Well, we do have a clock, sir.
So you be observant, Betsy.
I will be looking.
Good evening, council members. My name is Will Quinn, and I'd like you to think of me not as your nemesis, but as a kinder, gentler personification of my lovely wife. Next week, I will initiate a series of presentations designed to eviscerate a long-standing narrative perpetuated by that triad of poverty for profit, McCann, Smith, Garcia. A narrative also supported by the mayor and you, the city council. Of course, I speak of Spokane's supposed shortage of affordable housing crisis. But first, I would like to establish some semblance of credibility to this and future narrations by providing my own pertinent background information. I was thrown out of the house at the age of 18. I spent the next 8 years working in mines, paper mills, and canneries. Of this, 6.5 years were devoted to sweeping and mopping floors, not to mention cleaning toilets. Through these endeavors, I was able to achieve the following: a BA degree from Eastern, consisting of a double major in psych and social work, followed by a master's degree in counseling psychology from GU, all accomplished before your collective arrival on this planet, Betsy aside. GU's graduate program required a semester in a practicum field setting. I selected a methadone clinic in downtown Spokane working with heroin addicts. What was true then is true now. Not one addict ever walked through those doors of their own volition.
Thank you.
Every single one came from the system, the judicial system. Pages 5 and 6 next week. Thank you.
Teresa Knudsen, and then Wendy Fishburne.
And once again, Will, if you can hear me and you're online, can you hit *3 or raise your hand?
Not Will, Justin.
Thank you,
Justin, sorry.
Thank you to the council. I'm Teresa Knudsen from the West Central neighborhood. The good and peace-loving citizens of Spokane are known for their friendly hospitality and humanity. Instances of these qualities are too numerous and well known to mention here. Recently, the good citizens have endured being repeatedly have endured repeated and hostile rhetoric from a few people who claim to support the homeless population. And I'm speaking of the homeless population who specifically speak free shelter in which to pursue their drug addictions, their drug dealings, and other criminal activities, distorting the term shelter. After the disastrous Camp Hope social experiment, and we saw that instead of helping, the city, in unintended consequence, was using funding to enable drug addiction, drug dealing, and criminal activity, almost to the point that the city itself became an accessory to these crimes. The proposed pushing of the scattered shelters is, in fact, apparently, the city administration secretly placing drug houses and into honest neighborhoods. It's not the city's job to finance drug dealing, drug addiction, and criminal activities. We must listen to the good citizens and their vision of a healthy and safe city, free from city-sponsored illegal drug use and drug dealing and crimes. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Wendy, and then Gina McKenzie, and after Gina, Earl Moore.
Good evening, City Council President and members. I'm Wendy, and I usually like to take a softer tone. You know this about me. I use phrases that I think are important for consideration: the unintended consequences of our good intentions, toxic compassion, and when helping harms. But I feel like we're not getting through. So I'm going to tell you what I was taught years ago. The analogy is rough, so apologies in advance, but it has applications with this perpetual complicity and harmful compassion towards the addiction crisis on our streets. I was majoring in recreation. I wanted to be a park ranger. One of the messages we were to teach the public is a fed animal is a dead animal. In the parks, if you feed the wildlife, you foster dependence. You foster expectations, you foster aggression, and ultimately the public needs to be informed that aggressive animals then have to be put down, which is the tragic result of this dependence cycle. A fed animal is a dead animal. We must not be complicit in perpetuating this harmful lifestyle. Living in addiction on our streets is a terrible human situation, for the human and for the environment. You need to publicly stand with your citizens and vote no on the Homeless Bill of Rights at our state level, HB 1380. We must disincentivize this harmful cycle of toxic compassion that's leaving our people dead in our streets, orphaning children, causing permanent brain damage and environmental nightmares. Take a public stand. And I urge you to tell your colleagues as well, tell your colleagues and constituents at the state level, don't support the Homeless Bill of Rights, please. Thank you.
Gina McKenzie.
Council, I'm Gina McKenzie again, from Corbin Park area. So I was going to ask that you can consider moving public forum toward the beginning of the meeting. And I was going to say that perhaps you didn't want to hear so much from, constituents. Like on February 10th, I sat here for 5 hours till 10 o'clock, and because there was a change in the agenda, there was like all sorts of controversial things going on with demonstrators and that sort of thing. Now I'm thinking it might be an advantage to have it toward the end because I get to speak again tonight, okay? So decades ago, I worked for the State Patrol. So I'm going to say in Spokane, people getting killed, pedestrians getting killed, the traffic's too fast, and we don't have traffic cops. And the cameras can only go so far. So I know, I'm not, you know what the shortage is on the SPD, and I think people are just driving like maniacs, and that can kill people. So a couple of things I forgot to say about Washington and Buckeye is that we don't, in my opinion, have appropriate signage as you approach that intersection. If you're not familiar with Spokane and maybe you're just visiting, the signs that show the weird lanes are only like within half a block of the signal. So my suggestion is to put signs up and maybe paint the road. I appreciate Ms. Klitsky's comment that like to work with the neighborhood. Really appreciate that. And as Mr. Zappone mentioned that there was input, and I talked to several people. It was 3 years ago, evidently, and you had mentioned that in January. And the people I talked to, including Jean Brake, who's very active in the community, said they didn't really get to give their input because there were facilitators that only gave you alternative choice clauses, which were acceptable to the powers that be. So anyway, thank you.
Welcome, Earl. And after Earl, Sunshine, and then Sarah Rose.
Thank you, Council. Earl Moore, North Spokane. My father, Earl Stiller, came to Spokane in the summer of 1963 with his family. They all grew up here, attended grade school, high school, and college. Some still reside here and are raising their families right here in Spokane. My son and I came in 1978 so I could attend college. I graduated and immediately got employment and worked in healthcare here in town for 40 years. I raised my son here and he attended schools and graduated from college, and he is presently employed for 20 plus years. In 62 years since my father arrived in Spokane, the population has doubled. At the rate things are going in our city right now, I do not believe we're going to see this improvement of population. Planning for the World's Fair began in 1971. It was the vision of Spokane businessmen and women working together to create Expo 74. Construction began in 1972, and Expo was a reality in 1974, held here in Spokane. Reminder, we were the smallest city to ever hold a World's Fair. What an accomplishment that came into being because the city and citizens worked together. As a result, we have one of the crown jewels here in the Pacific Northwest. It's called Riverfront Park, but I'm sorry to say not anymore. I visit with people from all over the country, actually all over the world in my part-time endeavor. They love our city, but are fearful of the homelessness that is rampant here in Spokane. Accomplishments in the city in the past few years include the addition to the convention center, podium, Stadium 1. What have you accomplished as a city council in the last year and a half? You have successfully created a city of chaos. I am saddened, and some of you on this council should be ashamed. You are destroying our city, our downtown, our parks, because you have allowed lawlessness. I say to you, God have mercy on all of you and on our city of Spokane. Thank you.
Sunshine? And Sarah Rose, and then Carol Ellis.
Sunshine Wiggin from Spokane. So I just want to take a moment to recognize all the people that are sitting in the ICU, brain dead from fentanyl, and parents that have to pull plugs, etc. I think we need to pay a little bit of respects to that. It's something that we don't talk about a lot of the time, or the ones that come out with the brain damage and we have to take care of them in facilities, or their parents, etc., family members. Also, I also would like to bring up that, you know, I'm one of the girls that helped to petition for 3 years to get the Hope House. And we lost part of our funding. It is what it is. Eventually we'll get it back. We always do. But it's a real slap in the face to see these little church shelters, these little forts that are unhumane. If you go in them, they are unhumane. It's not the solution. We need to build 2 more Hope Houses. We would have back our 450 beds we lost with track, and we would have housing on top. You guys are doing it all wrong, and it's like castles that are just going to blow away, little sand castles. You guys keep making these temporary fixes instead of fixing the core. And our housing, low-income housing is not broken after doing BOCA. We have fixed that. We are getting them in housing very fast now. And the thing is where our system is broke at the shelter system. But if you're not going to build it solid, you shouldn't even build it at all because they're going to be right back out there. These guys don't know how to cope with us not being hidden behind walls. And that's why they're angry at us and they treat us the way they do. I think that you guys have great hearts. You guys have done nothing but be respectful and loving to me, no matter how mentally ill I come at you, no matter
thank
what
you, Sunshine. Your
happens.
time is
And I
up.
just want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you very
Sunshine.
much.
Sarah Rose, Carol Ellis, and then Derek Azaro.
Hello, my name is Sarah Rose from Spokane. I've had a pretty traumatic week. After witnessing 2 people seriously injured by cars, I went to a local fire station to get a CPR refresher. I was met with an incredibly condescending tone and told that our fire stations have been priced out of teaching civilians how to save lives. They recommended a class from the Red Cross for $67 on April 2nd. That's a long time to wait to learn how to save a life. I don't need to be CPR certified. I just wanted to practice on a mannequin so I would know what it feels like to perform CPR for 10 minutes while waiting for emergency response to show up. The firefighter I was talking to seemed insulted at this. He said, "We arrive on the scene within 3 minutes." I didn't know what to say other than, "You didn't." Over the weekend, I attended a surprise party and the group wanted to sing karaoke on the north side. I offered to fit as many people as I could in my car because I didn't trust the 22-year-old boy who offered to drive as well. My friend wasn't concerned and got in his red Audi while I drove everyone else. I began to get sick with worry when the others weren't there, and when they finally arrived, my friend was shaken and upset. We got pulled over by the police. He had gotten pulled over for speeding and making an illegal turn on red. He probably should have gotten a DUI and his license revoked. Instead, he showed his military ID, and the officer said, "Drive slower, be safe out there tonight." It feels like there's currently a sense of gatekeeping when it comes to the streets and safety in Spokane. Not to mention every ticket an officer doesn't give is not only revenue for safer streets lost, but it's a waste of taxpayers' money. There really is no accountability or preventative action taken in Spokane when it comes to the safety of getting from point A to point B. That's all transportation is. That's all driving is. As a resident of Spokane, I just want to be able to take the bus or ride my bike or go for a walk without being killed by a car. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Carol? After Carol, Derek.
Good evening. I'm Carol Ellis from Lincoln Heights. I would like to comment on the proposed change in height restrictions along Spokane Falls Boulevard. In light of long shadows that taller buildings on Spokane Falls Boulevard would cause into Riverfront Park, reaching north to the Spokane River and its gorge, as the info from the Downtown Spokane Partnership included in your morning email showed, I asked the City Council to protect the Spokane Falls Boulevard from changes in height restrictions, just as you were currently protecting Peaceful Valley in the proposed changes. St. Louis allows no buildings higher than its arch. Austin requires sight lines to its capital. Pittsburgh regulates heights to be lower, closer to its 3 rivers. Boston protects its historic center. I asked the council to protect light on the Spokane River Gorge, the largest in America, from building shadows. In 2017, I met 4 people from China, 1 from Ireland, and 4 from Salt Lake, all in Riverfront Park to see our falls and gorge in just 2 days. I asked the City Council to exclude Spokane Falls Boulevard from experimental height regulations, to create an interactive website with variables of building height, shadows, according to the time of day, time of year, especially at winter solstice, especially at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., as happened in 2018, which stopped the change in the height regulations then. Please, before the November $240 million parks proposal is on our ballots, please address the importance of Riverfront Park and shadows on the park to the river, to which we can thank the Spokane tribe for being here first. Thank you.
Derek Azaro, and then Will Hewlings.
Derek Azaro, formerly of the Logan District. I just want to do a quick shout out to the COPS program, COPS. we need to support them. They need their money for this next year. They provide a really good service community, and they have been, and we're defined as a sole source provider. You're giving money to the other sole source providers, I think it should be fair enough to give them the same thing. They've been in existence for a long time. They've been in a good point of, a good policy in the neighborhoods. Everybody goes over there and asks for help. It's kind of disturbing to see that they're not getting it like they should, but I really think the mayor should maybe have a change of heart and start focusing on, the neighborhoods and the communities and their needs, and start focusing more on that. That's basically my only comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Will, and after Will, Jamie Caselli, and then Lawrence Brown.
Good evening. My name is Will Hewlings, and I live downtown. And you guys all know where I live at. The owner's actually here, which is good. But I've lived downtown Spokane since 2019. What was once a vibrant and promising neighborhood has deteriorated into an unsafe and embarrassing shadow of what it used to be. Just steps from my front door, I'm confronted daily with scenes that no resident should have to endure. Homeless individuals camping in the streets, drug addicts openly using, people armed with bats and swords, and mentally unstable individuals wandering like zombies, high on the legal drugs, blocking sidewalks. When I leave here tonight to go back to my apartment, that's what I'm going to be confronted with. Why is it that me, as a veteran that served honorably, that almost died several times for this country, why do I have to live with that? I'm not moving. But I would just live blocks from both the downtown Spokane Police Precinct and Spokane City Hall. Yet, despite being in the heart of where law and order should prevail, my neighborhood has become a lawless mess. Just walking here today, there was a guy out there yelling, just over there in the park. I called Crime Check. He was yelling at people as they jogged by him, a mentally unstable guy, probably high on drugs. You guys should be ashamed, for real. Lisa Brown, she lives in her nice, fancy, white Democrat neighborhood where she doesn't have to deal with this. And I know, I was just there this weekend. She should be ashamed. Same with Kevin Hall, flying around to D.C., talking about he cares about fentanyl. He cares nothing about fentanyl. He was trying to pass Senator Cantwell's garbage bill. He doesn't care. He doesn't do nothing near my neighborhood.
Thank you, Will. Jamie? And then Lawrence Brown.
My name is Jamie Caselli. I live in Spokane. Tonight I stand before you pleading that you will not pass HB 1380 because it is not a good bill. It is not a good bill because it does not offer a solution for those caught in homelessness, or as I would call it, drug addiction. It merely causes havoc for the once beautiful city of Spokane and its residents, and it does not send the message of love and compassion to those gripped by addiction. They need more than steps to recover on. Safe housing is not enough. They need recovery. From the UGM website, quote, lives damaged by trauma, abuse, addiction, mental illness, or neglect are not healed through the housing alone. UGM has been providing a pathway out of homelessness through a whole person approach to physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional restoration, end quote. As of 10:05 this morning, the UGM shelters had 70 beds available. If this were merely a homeless problem, these beds would be filled. But because one must be sober, they chose to sleep on the streets. 10 low-barrier shelters listed on ShelterMeSpokane.org were nearly full. This is an addiction problem and is destroying image bearers of God in Spokane. Here's a quote from a Facebook message from my cousin Carissa, who was addicted to heroin and died later that day in March 2017. Quote, being a junkie is not cool. Hurting your family and loved ones closest to you is effing not cool. Having no moral compass, being the animal you never thought you have been is not effing cool. Doing the things that you thought you'd never do, but do them anyway. Yeah, not effing cool either, end quote. Spokane needs recovery programs, mentorships, job training, the transitional housing such are available at UGM. It's time to consider options such as these to combat the issue of addiction. This is from a man who used meth for 35 years, was arrested and went through an effective recovery program. Quote, when I got the handcuffs put on me at my house when they knocked my door and I looked at the lady detective and I said, thank you. She looked at me like I was crazy. I said, you just saved my life, because if she didn't stop me there, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I'd either be dead or I'd be doing life, end quote. It is not loving or compassionate ignoring the real situation of addiction. It is not loving or compassionate allowing someone to sleep under a blanket where they are warm and dry in 14-degree weather. It is not loving or compassionate watching someone spiral to the depths of depravity and death. Laws must be enforced. Recovery must happen. It is your duty to pass legislation protecting image bearers. I stand here and pleading on behalf of my cousin present for every image bearer destitute in the grip of addiction and sin living on the streets of Spokane. Here's how Chris ended her Facebook post. Quote, how about we all work together instead of against each other on one common thing, the effing heroin epidemic. Who's with
Thank
me?
you,
End
Jamie.
quote.
Your time
I
is
thank you
up.
for that question.
Thank you. Lawrence Brown?
Thank you again for your time. What we have to remember is that Expo 74 was voted down by the citizens of Spokane, and the executive committee did it anyway. Sometimes you got to do things that people don't want to do because it's just the right thing to do. And we've got years and years of history behind all that. Another thing, the height restrictions and all those things that we're talking about doing here, we would be working with the city, and we wouldn't be charging the city, and we wouldn't be asking the city for anything. What we'd be doing is putting buildings up that are nice looking, that pass inspection, and don't cost any money to the taxpayer. I have the people from New York, and I have the people from Portland that are willing to come to Spokane and help us out. As far as Catholic charities go, don't make me laugh. I tried to buy all of their buildings, and McCann quoted a price that was so outrageous that I couldn't afford it. I wanted to buy the buildings and turn them into, gospel mission stuff, because what he's doing is just getting paid a lot and making a fool out of our city. And the last thing is, Spokane's a good place. We've got an airport that's really, really good deal. And we're going to be getting a lot of people here. And we all have to work together. So what I'm saying to you is, as I stand here, I'm not asking you for anything other than help, not asking you for your wallet, not asking you for your political ways. I'm not asking for the religious part of it. What I am saying is, I have answers because I've been working now for 12 years getting the people that want to be involved in Spokane, and they want to come. So thank you very much, all of you, because you got a tough job. And please remember what I said.
Thank you. That concludes our open forum for the evening. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been moved and second to adjourn. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes, abstentions? We are adjourned. Please join us next Monday night.